Okay, hello and welcome to today's episode of Becoming a Natural Pro Bodybuilder. We are in week 18. There are 33 more days until I compete on stage in some sort of thong, basically. I actually haven't bought the shorts yet. I'm still kind of apprehensive. I really just want to wear my classic shorts because I can't be bothered to buy other ones, but I think I've mentioned that before anyway. So yeah, with the program, what we're going to do going forward now is obviously this is from the first 10 weeks or so. I I think I looked best in week 8, but then of course, I went off track. I thought there's no point in me taking progress pictures because it doesn't get better than this. And now obviously I did week 10, which was this is 2 weeks after going off track. This is the start of going off track, and then I went off track some more. But now I'm back on track basically. And yeah, so from next week, week 19, I'll start to post um, checking pictures again. Speaking of being on and off track, we'll start with the actual track. So at the moment, I currently weigh 97 kg. So what I did was, as you know, daily weight checks, and I set the target here to show the rate of loss on a daily basis, just to give me something to make sure that I'm actually seeing the sort of progress I want to see. So what was happening last week was I just didn't, even though I was doing cardio exactly the same, I was eating pretty much the exact same thing. I think I spoke about how the jelly threw me off. Um, I fixed that up. I basically, according to me, everything was basically on track. So I didn't understand why I wasn't seeing the rate of change that matched what was expected. But then yesterday morning, I thought, let me just clean up my scale and figure out, like, I just basically cross all the possibilities out for why I'm not getting the scale weight that I want. And, lo and behold, I managed to drop down to 97.65. Now, it could be me cleaning the scale, or just the fact that the accumulative cardio I've done has finally started to show. But it is also a good indicator that to get this 97, it was from yesterday. So most of the work could have been done on Sunday, and on Sunday I didn't do any cardio. So it wasn't that it was an extreme amount of cardio that made this happen. So I'm more inclined to believe the scale was just off, which is fine. A lot of this data is probably invalid. However, it will still serve in sense of knowing what happened during this week. So past 2 days I've been 97. I'm looking to be 96 by tomorrow, which will put me roughly about 5-ish days ahead, which is really good because then it means I can stop doing a huge amount of cardio much earlier in the prep. Like I said, so obviously my goal is to be 91 on show day, but if I can be from 5 days out, basically, um, already in step, then I wouldn't have to do cardio on all these days. I can kind of just take it easy from um, beginning of the last week. But I am very relieved to be 97, and I am looking a lot leaner, a lot more vascular nowadays. If you go on my Instagram, you'll see what my daily progression is looking like. And I took a picture of all the mandatory poses and put it on Instagram for my 5 weeks out post. So yeah, progress wise, finally seeing some good progress. Very happy with this. Looking forward to be 90, at least 96 by tomorrow. So cardio is still the same, doing the 10K runs 5 times a week, Monday to Friday, and then on the weekends initially I was doing 15K steps, but one of my friends made this walking app where it tracks your steps, and people really want to be on my case. Obviously, I want to be first, so I've been really pushing myself to get at least 20K steps every single day, and now even on the weekends I get 20K steps instead of 15, which is a benefit in the sense that I get to keep my volume very high for steps, and it's pushing me closer towards my goal. So there's no issue there. In terms of training, still doing 1 muscle group per day. My strength hasn't flagged or anything like that. It's mainly my fatigue that's the issue. So what's happening now is that basically, I always say this, but after an hour of anything, I get really tired. But it's starting to show itself in the end of the day. So after my gym session, I'm just very, very tired, where I don't really have the energy to, like, even sometimes even laughing too uproariously. I'm just like, oh, it's not even worth it. I'd rather just chill. Most of my evenings are just very relaxed now. So I'll wake up, have breakfast, go do my cardio, come back, have lunch. Right now I'm eating eggs and whatever it is, like cornflakes, anything else, some sort of carbs, simple carbs for lunch. Come back, do a bit of admin, work on clients, all this kind of stuff, and then head to the gym. After that, that's basically where the most of my energy is spent, obviously at the gym because I'm working out. And in the evening, I'll have dinner and I'm basically done. At that point, I'm just counting down the hours up until I get to go to bed. And I always call 9 p.m. a reasonable time to basically tuck it in. And it's not because I love sleep or anything like that, but it's because I don't really have anything else to do for the rest of the day. I've eaten, I've eaten all my calories, I've done all my work. There is nothing productive that could happen else. I've got all my steps in, all these kind of things, all the boxes have been checked for that day. So I'm just basically waiting for tomorrow to come. And I was thinking about this earlier in terms of waiting for tomorrow. One of the things that I feel like is a task for me to do is sleeping, because I really struggle to get a full night's sleep that's not interrupted. Now, most of this, or some of this, is that I go toilet about 3 times during the night, and that wakes me up every probably 2 hours or so. What I've been doing now is I'll also weigh myself in the middle of the night to sort of anticipate what my weight will be in the morning, just to basically give me something else in the middle of the night to do while I'm waiting to get back to sleep, basically. My sleep routine at the moment is I try to keep my phone away from me so that I'm not distracted by it and I don't really have thoughts of going onto it. So, yeah, sleep is another task that is, I'm finding tedious at this point, but anything right now would be tedious. The other day, my friend asked me to play table tennis and I wanted to do it, but then it was at 6 p.m. and I was like, I'm not going to be good at it and I'll be very tired by the end of it and I wouldn't be able to eat either. So it's just not worth it. I keep it, I just kept to myself. In terms of nutrition, still doing 250 grams of protein. So last week when my weight wasn't dropping, I started considering what I'd have to do to make sure that I can actually stay on track with the daily progression in terms of weight loss. And I was thinking maybe it's actually time to start reducing my protein, because last year my protein was around 170 to 100, between that and 200 grams, depending on what my coach said to do for my carb loading days. So I was doing carb cycling. So some days I'll have high calories, some days I have low calories. And my protein would be, I think, maybe even 160 on some days. And I found that that never really worked for me because I just couldn't push as hard during the gym sessions. So right now, as I'm tired during the day, generally, I still have my strength. Whereas last year, I didn't have my strength and I was tired. And I was actually doing less cardio at this stage. So it was definitely something that I found strange, where when I was on lower protein, I was more tired and I had less strength. So that's the last thing I'm stubborn to go down on. I'm going to keep it to 250 grams of protein for as long as possible. Carbs is 150. That's not hard to stick to. I only have like 2 main carb meals a day, and fat is 30. Some days it goes a bit higher because I've been adding eggs to my meals lately. So I'll do 2 whole eggs and 5 egg whites, and of course that has a bit of fats. But soon I'm going to take away oats from my meals and just stick to my protein. My sponsor, ESN, have a wait. Let's see. ESN have a rice pudding that's essentially dehydrated rice, so there's barely any carbs in it, and so not barely any carbs, barely any fats or fiber. It's basically just purely rice, and that is what I might substitute the oats with. Just keep the calories as low as possible, but then also it kind of brings the question: what am I going to do about my fiber? Right now, I've been adding basically just shredded lettuce and all these kind of things to my dinner to increase my fiber a little bit. But everyone knows that cabbages are pretty much just water, or lettuce pretty much just water. So it's not super high in fiber, but it is something. And when I make my eggs, I sort of make it into a steamed egg omelette, and that has some onions and mushrooms in it, which also isn't super high in fiber, but it's better than nothing. So hopefully that can hold me over and not cause any issues with digestion. But yeah, apart from that, everything is pretty much the same. I'm looking forward to starting to take progress pictures again. Like, I'll be doing it right here. So it'll be pretty straightforward. I think I'll do it on probably Saturday, because the competition is on Sunday, so I'll be able to see what I look like the day before every single day, and then I'll be able to take that peak week picture to compare. But as of now, I'm in much better shape. Obviously not like this yet, but I'm getting very close to this. And the only difference between this and my current weight is just 2 kg. So if I just drop to 90, like by looking at the graph, by the end of next week, I should look very similar to this picture. Obviously, here I've got 2 layers of tan on. I'm dehydrated, everything. So this will look better, but I should look very similar to this. And I'm seeing a lot more, I think you can see it here, but there's a lot more vascularity and all these kind of things in my physique. So it's definitely, the work is paying off. However, I am exhausted. I can't wait. I've made a spreadsheet of things that I'm going to eat afterwards. I'm planning every single day to eat something different to make sure that I get my fill, and I'll see how feel. I'll see how I feel at the end of the show. Before this is when I think I'll start my prep for the next one. However, if I'm tired of competing, I might just call it a day there after that one prep. And right now it's 50-50. And I think I said this last year as well. I do love competing and all those kind of things, but it is exhausting and it does basically take over my life. So it's something I have to consider in terms of how I want to basically carry on living. But if I do want to continue, then the idea is to basically just take 2 weeks to eat whatever I want, 2 weeks to recover from that, and then go into prep. Yeah. All right. That is everything. If you are interested in coaching or want to have any or ask me any questions about my program or how I basically just coach people, feel free to message me. You can either DM me, or you can't even DM on here, but you can either drop a message in the comments or look for the link in my bio for my coaching appointments. Anyways, that's it. Bye.